welcome back to Detroit Garage. We got another milestone for the rig. 50,000 miles on it now. 50,000 miles since I swapped the Detroit 453T into this. And you're like, wait, what? A Detroit? No way! Yeah. And a little backstory on this. Why not a Cummins? Why? What? Why not a Cummins? It started back in 2009-ish. I bought a Detroit 453T for a project. And that project never happened. I had a few more years to 2018. 2019. This truck had about 180,000 miles on it at the time with the 6.4 in it, and it wiped out the fuel injection system basically. To fix that, I was looking at a considerable amount of labor and $3,500 to repair it myself, all the work myself. The engine itself was making metal as well, and I didn't know why. And these engines are notorious. The 6.4s are notorious for engine failures and things like that. And in order to make it right, I would have had to spend about 10,000 bucks on it to build the engine up the right way. And I just thought, nah, I'm not gonna do that. Nah, I'm not putting the time and the money into it. So I had this Detroit sitting in my shop. Why not put that in? Yeah. So a year later, and about 1,000 hours, the Detroit is in this truck, running the Ford 5R110, like factory. I wanted to make this like factory. All the gauges work, everything works. It's a daily driver, and it's comfortable and relatively quiet. It's not that much noisier than a 6.4 is, to be honest. Anyway, fast forward today, 4 years later, the truck has 230,000 miles on it, and Jimmy's got 50,000 on it. Was it easy? No. It would have been far easier just to throw a Cummins in it. So 4 years later, 50,000 miles, and what has happened in those 4 years? The first year was a catastrophe. I put the engine in. I bought it sight unseen in Florida in 2009-ish, and it hadn't been proven. Well, it lasted 600 miles, and I had an engine failure. Broke one of the liners. And the short of it is, the engine was abused, it was worn out, and overheated one piston and liner and broke it. So here I am. I spent 1,000 hours with this build, making it, because there's no kits. So I'm like, oh Jesus. So the Cummins word came up again. I'm familiar with Cummins because I owned a 93 first gen Dodge with the Cummins in it. So I'm very familiar with that engine. Oh God, I should have put a Cummins in it. Okay, so $4,000 later, I rebuilt the engine. I upgraded it to a Silver Series spec engine. Brand new crank, performance camshaft, all new pistons, everything new. And a year after that, I had to pull the engine apart, put new rings and bearings in it, because I was running propane. Well, why wouldn't you, right? I mean, so the engine puts out about 210 horse. It's enough. It's like a second gen Cummins stock, but this truck weighs 9,000 pounds. So I wanted to add a bit more power without throwing big injectors in it. So I put propane in it. A year after I put the propane on it, the engine was coming out again. That time I was seriously thinking, okay, a Cummins. The C word was used a lot. And anyway, long story short, I persevered. I bought new rings. I put new bearings in it. I took all the ceramic coatings off everything. because I felt that may be a contributing factor. And I also put a single turbo on it. I had compound turbos on it. Now it's 3 years later, 40,000 miles since I put the new rings in, and it's running perfect. It's been running perfect the day I did that. It's been running perfect since I rebuilt it the first time, but I threw propane at it, and I wasn't happy doing the propane. So I'll wear that one. That's my fault. But yeah, 40,000 miles on the re-ring and new bearings, and boy, she's running perfect. I couldn't be happier, to be honest, guys. Would I like a Cummins? No, actually no. So the topic of a Cummins, I'm asked all the time why I didn't do a Cummins swap, and do I regret not swapping a Cummins? And I don't really regret it at all. This is a really nice engine. It's not for everyone, but I really like it. Yeah, I've become fond of running it now, even after the teething issues I had when I first got it. But yeah, it's dialed in now, and it's running really nice. Comparison to a Cummins, it's like the first gen 6PT, and maybe even the second gen at about 210 horse. With the water meth, I've got it at 240, and it's more than adequate for this truck. I'm more than happy with it. I have test driven a Cummins in another Ford swap. A friend of mine contacted me and came up. I took his truck out. It was beautiful. Wow. It was a Lariat F450, and he had it bumped up to about bumped up to 325 or 350 with the Cummins in it. Same transmission. Different rear end ratios, but yeah, it was really nice. But with all the work I did in this, I'm not switching it to a Cummins. I'm going to keep it and run this unit. It's pretty much dialed in. The 5R110 gave me some issues about 5 months now, something like that, 5-6 months ago, and I just drained the fluid and added 8 quarts, and that fixed it. So no uncommanded unlocks of the torque converter or anything like that. It's running perfect. So that gives me a bit of breathing space before I have to do the manual swap. So I'll put my thinking hat on and decide what I'm going to do with that transmission. I have a ZF6 in the shop, and I'm still thinking of trying to convert that to fit on this engine. So, well, that's it, guys. That's the update. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll update you if anything changes, and maybe when we hit 100,000 miles, I'll update you again. But again, thanks for checking in, and we'll catch you on the next video. Take care.